read the handout to you guys, but you can look through that. It is really important as you guys are learning about the Montessori materials and the scope and sequence of how to introduce activities that you do understand typical developmental milestones as well. Parents rely heavily on teachers to help them identify if a child's not meeting expectations. Not that we are capable of making any sort of diagnosis for a child, but early intervention is key for everything, whether that's language delays, motor delays, psychological delays, whatever it might be. Early intervention is key, and so if we start to identify that a child's not doing the things that we would expect them to do at a certain age, first of all, that will help us figure out what materials to introduce because we can work on certain skills. We're very well equipped to help children grow and develop, as you guys have seen even in the short period of time you've been here, in certain areas, but it will also help us to help parents know when something is something they might want to take a closer look at. So planes of development is what Maria Montessori termed as her way of tracking human development, learning components. So she felt like through her observations of children that development occurred in waves versus a steady path. So a lot of the growth charts that you'd see prior to Maria Montessori would just start at birth, and you grow and grow and grow and grow and grow and grow until you're an adult, and then you streamline until you're off the chart. So the waves that she saw through her observation happened in 4 different planes. We only focus on the first plane at Agape. We focus on birth through age 6. 6 through 12 is elementary. 12 through 18 would be high school or middle school and high school. And then 18 through 24, some of you are still in your 4th plane of development. You're not a fully matured adult until about the age of 24, meaning that you have identified who you are, your core beliefs are established, and it's very hard to teach a dog new tricks after that point.
Yeah, thanks. One more year.
One more year. So get as much learning in as you can during that time. Not that you're not capable of learning after age 24, but the way that you think, the way that you perceive the world is pretty much set in stone by age 24. The 18 to 24, that's your college years. That's when you're supposed to go out and explore your world and figure out what it is that you want to do with your life. And hopefully you guys are on that path right now, figuring things out.
She doesn't look at me.
I wouldn't be looking at myself in the mirror right now. So in each plane, Maria Montessori identified that children are drawn to different skills and activities. So it's really important that we understand what the first plane of development looks like and what types of things kids are drawn towards. So the first plane is what we're going to be focusing on. And this is the period of the absorbent mind. And it is exactly what it sounds like. They are absorbing everything from their environment. So there are 3 different ways that the mind processes information. There's the conscious mind, there's the subconscious mind, and there's the unconscious mind. So we're going to go through those 3 and how that applies to your kids. And it depends on where they are in the first plane of development. So the first half of the first plane of development is a subcategory. That's birth through age 3. That's why Montessori's program is broken down into different groups. We have a certification program for 0 through 3 and a certification program for 3 through 6 because those are 2 different halves of the first plane of development. So most of the learning in this group happens in the unconscious or the subconscious. So students below the age of 3 are not consciously thinking like, ooh, I want to learn about colors. Let's go over here and work on these colors. It's something that you're constantly introducing. It's in their environment, and they're just naturally absorbing into their consciousness. You'll notice, in general, this child pays attention to everything all at once, which makes it appear that they're easily distracted. But in some of the videos that you guys are going to watch, you're going to see where a child will be doing an activity, and they'll still be doing the activity, but they'll notice something going on over here, so they'll like stop what they're doing and look. And then they'll go back to their activity and do what they're doing. And then something will distract them over there, and they'll like put their stuff down and start walking that way, and they'll realize that's not where they're supposed to be, so they'll go back to what they're doing, and they'll keep working. That doesn't mean that they're not focusing on what they're doing. That's just the way that under threes focus. They can't just streamline one thought at a time. It's constantly millions of things going on at once.
What if you notice that, like, in the older kids?
Well, that's where we would start to have some concerns about their ability to focus.
Okay.
So that's something you would monitor. Some kids are just a little flightier than others, and that's totally normal. It's still expected in a 3 to 6, but you're hoping to see more ability to focus and concentrate. And if you're not over an extended period of time, then that would be a conversation that we'd probably want to have with parents.
Okay.
But like if they turn 3 and they're not able to focus for 30 minutes, that's not something we're going to worry about. And then we have the 3 to 6, which becomes the conscious absorption. They begin to focus inward, becoming aware of the choices and ability to make them. So that's why love and logic plays so well into Montessori, because we're constantly giving them choices, which allows them the opportunity to learn how to make a choice. You give a choice to a 1-year-old, they might not be able to make the choice, but you keep giving that 1-year-old choices until they're 3, they're going to figure out how to make a choice, hopefully. They're typically drawn to objects and actions that allow personal satisfaction, and that's where those sensitive periods come into play. They get to choose what they want to do, and it satisfies some sort of a need within them, and they recognize that what they're doing is satisfying a need. So they'll seek out specific activities because they know that that's what they want to do, and they'll even ask for certain activities because they know that that's what they want to do. Versus a 1 and 2-year-old typically will just look around to see what's in their environment and choose from that. They're not thinking ahead that I want to do a specific activity. And for the teacher's perspective, this is where you really need to learn how to follow the lead of the child. We're directing a little bit more closely with the 0 to 3, where with the 3 to 6, you want the child to start leading the way a little bit more. So it's not that we're not individualizing for the 0 to 3, but we have to be a little bit more proactive in choosing what they should be doing versus a 3 to 6. They're more capable of choosing what they should be doing. Does that distinction make sense?
Yeah.
And of course, sensitive periods, better defined here. It's a period of time when given ample opportunity, a child is absorbed by and focuses all attention on developing a certain skill to the exclusion of all others. So even if they were interested in something else the previous week, they might not care anything about that activity this week because they're really focused on this particular thing. So other ways that you might hear a Montessorian phrase the term would be a critical period or a window of opportunity. And both of those, I think, really well describe what a sensitive period is. So can you guys think of examples of sensitive periods that you've seen in the students in your class?
Scarlett went through a time where every single day she would go to the sound cylinders and she would sit there for like 15-20 minutes, and then she would go, and then she would come back for another 10-15 minutes, and then she would go and she would come back. She did this for like, I don't know, over the summer, a couple weeks, and she still likes them.
Yeah.
She doesn't sit for quite as long, but she will still go back. And things were so crazy. I tried to give her a lesson. I was trying to give her a lesson again today. She doesn't seem to really get it, but she still just likes to just shake them and just play with them, and she likes to pretend she's putting sunscreen on them.
That's funny.
But there's definitely a particular time where she was more drawn to them for a longer period than she is now.
Yeah, which I feel kind of bad, because if we'd known that at the time and somebody knew the lesson properly, they might have been able to engage her in that in a more productive way.
Yeah.
So you will see these windows close abruptly, where a child will just do the same thing nonstop for 2 solid weeks and then they're just done. And so you can miss a window of opportunity. It's not that they'll never learn that skill. It's just not going to be as learned as quickly because they're no longer as interested in it. Obedience definitely plays into where they are within the plane of development. Under the age of 3, they're in the first level. It's almost impossible for them to follow a direction that does not correspond with what they want. So you have to figure out what the child wants and how to get them to do what you want based on what they want. So if there's a positive outcome for them, then they'll probably go along with what you're asking. But if they don't see any value in what you've asked them to do, they're not going to do it. So lining up for recess, they get to go outside for recess. So they'll probably go along with what you're asking them to do. It's time for snack. We need to wash our hands. Okay, I can do that because I want to eat. But if the child doesn't want to eat, you're not going to get them to wash their hands because they don't see any benefit in them.
Yeah.
So what you're constantly having to do, and you guys have this issue with you have under 3s in your classroom too, you have to figure out what the child wants to help get them to do what you need them to do.
Like getting our kids to circle time. There's half of them that want to because they know we're going to do story time at the end.
Yeah.
But the others, they want to go shake the... How do we get them to stop shaking those stupid things?
What thing?
When we close off
Oh,
the
the loft?
Oh,
yeah.
I guess.
Yes.
Yes.
Really got into it
Phoenix
today.
and
Both of them
Scarlet.
at the same time.
Oh my
as hard
gosh.
as he could.
Scarlet, Phoenix, Daniel. Those are, and Henry. Those are
Well,
the
sometimes with that group, you have to start doing whatever it is to make them see that they want to do it. Because some of them can't think ahead that, oh, we're going to go to circle, which means we're going to sing fun songs. So you almost have to start doing the activity first in order for them to want to come. That would be the only.
I need to get a printout of half those songs that everybody sings because I don't know. I know Wheels on the Bus.
I will tell you one, Mother Goose Club. YouTube, or if you have Netflix, watch. They're terrible. But watch Mother Goose Club. It's Hartley's favorite thing ever. But there's a million songs on there. It'll give you so many ideas.
I do feel bad. I said I was going to write those out, and I forgot.
Okay. I've learned Baby Shark.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Little Baby Bum, I think that's what it's called, is another one that has a lot of nursery rhymes.
Little Baby Bum.
One of my favorite songs to do with the kids is the Five Little Ducks.
Yeah, I like any of the ones that have
Okay, so
numbers along with
she
it.
was doing it with our kids, and I had to go get something from the other room, and the other class was doing the same exact song as we were.
Oh, that's always weird when you hear
I know.
it and
I
it's
walked
like
in
off.
the room, and I was like, "What were we making?" That was weird.
You did not.
It was the exact part that we were in, though. That was what's weird.
Yeah. So obedience comes from outside the child. It's not something that they decide for themselves. It's imposed upon them.
I'm sorry, I got distracted from my question I was going to ask.
Yeah.
One of the problems of what we're having right now is that our youngest ones keep wanting to go around the room, and I don't want to discourage them from exploring, but at the same time they can be really destructive. And so I'm trying to figure out a way to, I don't want to over-control them, because I feel like I'm doing
Is it during work time?
It is during work time.
Okay, we're going to go over this concept. Hopefully we'll have time to. It's called Constructive Roaming. So when you see that topic, let's discuss this a little bit more. At age 2, this is the lucky number, they can start to follow routines and directions, especially if it benefits the child. So like we were talking about, they can follow through with what you've asked them to do. They understand that this is something I've been told to do and I can do it. They typically can follow 2 directions. It's usually 1 direction per age of child. So we assume infants can't follow a direction at all. If they can, that's awesome. And sometimes they can. A 1-year-old can follow usually a 1-step direction. So come here would be like all you could say. Versus a 2-year-old can start to follow a 2-step direction. So go wash your hands and come to the table for snack. You should be able to say that. It benefits the child and it's a normal routine that you guys have been following.
What if we did that to adults?
I don't think I could follow that many steps. I don't think I could remember. And then we have the second level of obedience, the 3 to 6. This is where it is blind obedience. So it's still coming from without the child. They're not deciding, ooh, I want to be a good kid, so I'm going to do what you asked. It's still, well, she asked me to do it. I know I'm supposed to do it, so I'm going to do it. It's kind of a begrudging obedience. And they'll usually do it without thought or question. So you still have kids at this age who are questioning everything constantly. But if it's a normal routine, they're likely to just fall in line and do what you've asked them to do. So it gets a little bit easier as they get older. Usually it's the 6 to 9-year-olds who have a joyful obedience, who want to do it because they want to please you. Unfortunately, we don't get that age. So just know that nobody really wants to follow directions that you work with. hopefully your co-teachers do, but oh, I didn't realize I had this on here. So the third level, which sometimes your 6-year-olds will go into the joyful obedience, but that's where they develop self-discipline, and they do it for the sake of doing it. So it's the value that they're adding to the situation. They know this is going to benefit more than just themselves. This is also a characteristic of normalization, which we will talk more about later too. So summary of the planes of development: birth through 6 is early childhood, and then we have the 6 through 12 elementary, 12 through 18 secondary, and 18 through 24 post-secondary. And this is her nifty little chart that she outlined for what these look like. So they're kind of, well, they're upside down triangles, but it's kind of a wave. So you have the infancy, early childhood, the 0 through 6, and you can see at age 3 is where it peaks. And so a 3-year-old can be an interesting character, 2.5 to 3.5. You don't really know which part of that plane they're in. They could lean one way or the other. And it could lean one way or the other in certain areas, but not other areas. So they're really trying to figure out where they belong. But we're really focusing on physical and biological independence at that point. So learning how to use the toilet, learning how to feed ourselves, how to clothe ourselves. So it's a lot of self-care that we're focusing on. And then, of course, how does Montessori incorporate these planes? She accommodates them and builds on children's natural needs and tendencies. So the materials that she's created focus on helping kids develop what they're interested in developing. The focus is not on changing the child's behavior, but on understanding it and developing it, building on positive inclinations. So constantly working on positive reinforcement. Like I said, if a child's not following directions, it's not because the child's misbehaving, it's because we're not giving them an instruction that they're interested in the outcome. And so it's your job to figure out how do we make them interested in the outcome benefiting that child. Introduce early the fine motor skills needed for later academic subjects. So we focus a lot on the pincer grasp, which will help later on translate into a pencil grip. Attract the interest of the child and opportunities they need to grow, develop, and learn. So again, the activities that we're introducing, we want to make sure that they're interested in it, and that way we give them plenty of opportunities to continue to repeat those activities. And of course, we want them to adopt a peaceful practice, develop awareness of personal responsibility. I think that's the goal of most adults, or the goal of most parents for their children, to grow into respectful and responsible adults, and we can teach that from infancy. And then the important things that relate to practical life relating to these skills. So 0 through 3, the physical and social, and this is kind of outlined on your guys' lists in front of you too. So the physical is going to be gross motor. When we get to 3 to 6, we're focusing more on fine motor. So gross motor are those large body movements. As infants, we're learning to sit up, hold our head up, feed ourselves, crawling, rolling over, walking, eventually into running, throwing balls, jumping, skipping, hopping, all of those really large motor skills. 3 to 6, we're really narrowing it down and focusing on our hand movements. Then the social skills, 0 to 3, it's all about the self-concept, helping them develop into positive individuals, seeing themselves in a positive light, learning how to be cooperative with others, recognizing emotions in others, and following simple instructions. Where the 3 to 6, the social is going to be learning gender differences, starting to build friendships, learning empathy, and proper social behaviors as well. And other planes of development that go into the major areas of practical life, the care of self. So we're going to be learning how to dress ourselves, clean ourselves. We have a whole section devoted to care of the environment, learning how to clean and prepare food. Grace and courtesy, manners. Who doesn't love manners? And then control of our movements would be the fine and gross motor skills. And that's how most of our practical life materials are broken down. Montessori.